What if I told you that something you thought had already passed was quietly gathering strength? Not loudly, not urgently, just patiently. And then, all at once, it returned. Not as a memory, but as a moment you can step into. Because right now, something extraordinary is happening around Jin, and it feels less like promotion and more like destiny lining itself up. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine walking into a movie theater on December 31st. You expect silence. You expect previews. But instead, you feel anticipation in the air. The kind that tightens your chest before a concert begins. This is when Run Seokjin episode, Tour the Movie begins. And suddenly, you're not sitting in a chair anymore. You're there. This film captures the energy of Run Seokjin Tour in Goyang, the fan concert held last June at the Goyang Sports Complex Auxiliary Stadium. But calling it a concert doesn't do it justice. This was an interactive experience. A place where Jin didn't just perform for fans, he performed with them. Missions, games, laughter that broke the script. Moments where the line between stage and audience simply vanished. And now, CGV is bringing all of it back. Not as a replay, but as a full-body experience. With Screen X, the stage doesn't stay in front of you. It expands to the sides, stretching the performance into a three-dimensional world. You don't just watch Jin move across the stage, you follow him. You don't just hear the crowd. You're surrounded by it. And then there's 40X and Ultra 40X. The bass vibrates, the timing feels alive, the performance breathes. This isn't a concert film you sit through. It's one you feel in your bones. But here's where the emotion deepens. This movie doesn't stop at the stage. It opens the door backstage. You see behind-the-scenes footage, the quiet focus before the lights go on, the small smiles, the pauses between breaths. You hear interviews that don't feel rehearsed, thoughts that sound honest, reflections shaped by time, distance, and growth. There are intro clips, and then there are cookie videos, the kind that feel like secrets shared only with those who stayed until the very end. CGV understands what this moment means. That's why opening events are more than just giveaways. They're keepsakes. Polaroid cards, raw, intimate, unfiltered. Special posters, unique to each screening format. And during opening weekend, a limited 2026 calendar poster, a symbol that this journey doesn't stop here. There will be photo zones at CGV Yongsanai Park Mall, opening even before the film itself. Spaces designed not just for pictures, but for memory-making. And sing-along screenings, where voices rise together, not perfectly, but honestly. Because this has never been about perfection. And just when you think this is where the story peaks, something unexpected happens. A song from 2018 re-enters the conversation. Anpanman. 7 years. 7 months. No relaunch. No remake. And yet it rises to number 1 on Billboard's World Digital Song Sales chart. It reaches number 7 on the Digital Song Sales chart. It tops iTunes in 75 countries. It reappears on the UK official charts. Why now? Because Anpanman was never about timing. It was about meaning. The song draws from the hero Anpanman, a character who saves others by giving pieces of himself away. A hero who isn't invincible, who weakens as he helps and yet keeps going. That message didn't age. It waited. It waited for a moment when people needed it again. And suddenly everything connects. A fan concert reborn as a cinematic experience. A song reborn on global charts. A voice that never disappeared, only traveled. Even the numbers whisper the same story. In 2025, Jin's solo tour brought together around 300,000 people across Asia, North America, and Europe. 18 concerts. Thousands of miles. Not because of spectacle, but because of trust. And all of this is happening just before something else. A full group comeback, planned for next spring, which makes this moment feel like a deep breath. A pause. The calm before everything begins again. So when you sit in that theater, when the screen expands, when the music fills the room, remember this. Some stories don't end when the lights go out, some songs don't fade when the charts move on, some voices don't need to shout to be heard. They wait, and when they return, they remind you why you stayed in the first place.